Get ready with me while I tell you things my ex-boyfriend did and I still stayed. We met for the first time on November 1st, made it official on November 4th, and then he asked me to have sex with him that same night, on the day we made it official. Which I said no, of course, because that's crazy. We were watching anime together, and I said that one of the girls on the screen was hot. Like, I was just admiring one of the characters. And he started crying and said that he didn't think I loved him because I was calling cartoon characters hot. Literal cartoons. He cried for like 10 minutes about it and like would not speak to me. From the minute we started dating, he asked for my location and would check it constantly. He always had to know where I was going at all times. And he would get mad if I didn't tell him. If I wanted to go to Dunkin's 3 minutes down the road, I had to tell him. If I had a last-minute rehearsal, I had to tell him because he needed to know where I was at all times. And he would spam me with texts until I told him where I was going. There was one time I stayed at school for an hour longer because I was talking to my music director for a show, and I forgot to tell him because, like, I'm talking to a teacher. I'm not going to text my boyfriend that I'm at the school. He checked my location, saw that I hadn't left yet, and he accused me of hiding at the school and cheating on him with his best friend. Throughout the entire relationship, he accused me of cheating on him with his best friend. I had known his best friend for 4 years, and we were just friends. But every time I was with him, he accused me of cheating on him with his best friend. He tried to watch me use the bathroom. His bathroom was connected to his bedroom, but it was also connected to the living room. There were 2 doors. I locked one of them, and I forgot to lock the one that connected to his bedroom. He opened the door, and I said, "No, I'm not comfortable with that. Leave. Like, I don't want you watching that. That's weird." He said, "Okay," and left the door open a crack and watched me through said crack. He constantly asked for pictures and got upset when I didn't send them to him. Even, like, they weren't even nudes. They were just, like, "I want to see a picture of you in the mirror," or "I want a picture of your face." But he would only ask, like, at night, at, like, 10 p.m. And at that point, I'm in my bed, I have my bonnet on, I have a face mask on. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting up. And frankly, I didn't even want to send the pictures anyways. Like, my philosophy is there's no need for pictures if you're going to see it in person. There's no reason to risk that and get them sent around. So I was totally against it. I was like, no, I'm not sending pictures. And he would get mad at me and constantly be like, "Please, please, please, please send them. Please, I need to see it right now." And it's like, no, you can wait. He told me that he needed to be my top priority above everything and that I wasn't making enough time for him. And mind you, I was spending all of my free time with him. I did not have any time to myself because I was devoting my entire life to this guy. I do theater, so our rehearsal schedule is pretty, like, intensive. We have a lot of rehearsals. Any day that I didn't have a rehearsal, I was at his house. I'm not gonna skip a rehearsal to see my boyfriend because that's ridiculous. So he actually got mad at me when I wasn't spending time with him, even though I put all of my free time into him. He told me that I had too many friends and spent too much time with them, so he told me that he wanted to convert me to introversion. In doing so, he drove me away from all of my friends. I didn't speak to my best friend for maybe 2 months because he was convinced that I had too many friends and didn't make enough time for him, even though he was, like, the only person I ever saw. I was at his house so much that his family was like, "Don't your parents want to see you?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I literally can't." We fought a lot during our relationship, which is normal. It's a high school relationship. You're not going to expect much else. But the issue was we couldn't talk through it because he never heard out my side of the story. If he had done something to wrong me, which happened a lot, I would bring it up with him to explain why it made me upset and, like, "Hey, like, we're fine. I just want you to know that you did this to me and it hurt me." He wouldn't listen to me at all and would just say that I was overreacting or, like, blame it on me and be like, "It's your fault. You should have spoken up." He said that a lot. He was like, "You should have told me in the moment." I did. And you didn't listen and you kept doing what you were doing to me. Because of all of this, he made a 2-minute apology video, pretty much blaming all of the things he did to me on having too much caffeine. Mind you, he had 11 Celsiuses in 1 week. He was fine. It was not the caffeine's fault. After all of this, I tried to break up with him 3 times. He said no the first 2 times, which is kind of crazy because if I'm saying I want to break up, you don't just be like, no, we can no, we're breaking up, we're done. Months after we finally did break up, he confronted me about the rumors I was spreading, which was just me telling my story because he, like, assaulted me. So I was just sharing my story, and when I explained my side of the story to him, he said he didn't remember, and he asked if I had any evidence. Evidence of assault? No. It was all in person. Do you want me to whip out an audio recording? Like, what? But anyways, I hope this was entertaining because my ex-boyfriend was actually evil. Thank God I was only with him for 2 months, but it could have been a lot longer. Finally put my foot down and broke up with him on the 3rd try. But thank you for watching, and I'm so sorry if you had a similar experience, because it actually is the worst feeling.
Hey girls, I have been putting off making this video for a very, very long time, but I feel peace in my spirit from the Lord that it is the right time to share, and I want to talk about how the Lord restored my relationship with my husband. I know I'm probably going to get hateful comments on this video, and that's okay with me. I'm tired of carrying so much shame around this, and I want to be transparent with you guys. And I have heard so many other stories from other women over the last 4.5 years, and it has helped me tremendously on my healing journey. And so if I can even be a small sliver of that for someone else in their journey, then I will do that, and I don't care what people have to say. But my husband and I got engaged in 2020, right around the time of the pandemic, and that is when I graduated from college. And so that fall, I moved to Charlotte, and we were doing long distance while we were engaged and planning our wedding. And he was going through a really hard time mentally. He was struggling with depression. He has also struggled with substance abuse in the past. That's something that the Lord freed him from, but he had just started taking medication and seeing a doctor to manage these symptoms. There were just a lot of moving parts, and I was honestly just trying to figure out who I was for the first time as an adult in my 20s. On my own, kind of, because we were long distance. So in April of 2021, a few months before we were scheduled to get married, I started noticing that things were different in our relationship. Just the dynamics were shifting, and I didn't really understand what it was at the time because I had so much on my plate at my job. And so in May of that year is when I had confessed to certain leaders at my church that I was struggling with sex before marriage because I had come clean about that and I wanted accountability moving forward, all the things. And in May of that year, I also started to notice that things were getting weird, even weirder, with my husband, then fiance at the time. And I was very confused about this. I did not understand what could possibly be contributing to this. I knew there was stress with the wedding, but I didn't know. And around the third week of May that year, I was at the beach with my family on a trip, and I had my phone with me, and we were all like sitting out, and it was around sunset time. And I remember texting one of my friends, and she said, ask him, have you talked to any other girl besides me in the last, I think she said like 6 weeks or 2 months, or it was something like that. And I was like, what a odd pointed thing to say. But she was like, I just feel like that is what you need to ask him. Discernment. So I texted my fiance at the time and I said, hey, can you answer this straight up for me? Have you been talking to anyone else? Because there's nothing else that could explain this weird vibe and the things that you've said, just kind of your distance and your cold feet about getting married. And sure enough, as soon as I sent that text, my fiance called me and he told me that he had been talking to someone else at work, that it kind of started off as a friend thing and then unintentionally progress into something else of with any work relationship, there should be boundaries, and when there's not boundaries, there's a tendency to overshare maybe struggles or mental health things that you're battling. And so that is what had happened. Well, I'm a crazy girl, y'all. Don't underestimate me. I found this girl on Facebook. I somehow located her at the store that she was working at, called her from the store phone number and scheduled a time to talk with her that night. And her and I talked that night for about 3 hours into the morning, and she told me all the details, and it did line up with the story that my fiance told me, but my fiance had cheated on me, and I was working in ministry at the time, and that's not something that I ever thought I would be faced with, to be honest. They were not intimate, but they did kiss, and they hung out a handful of times, and it was really, really hurtful and traumatizing to find out that information 3 months before you're about to get married. And I had a choice to make. Was I going to marry him and move forward? And I knew that, people were going to not understand my decision. I knew that people were going to judge me if they found out that I decided to marry him anyway. And at the time, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if I was making the right decision. I ended up confronting him in person with all the information that the girl told me. And I said to him, I know everything. So let's talk about this open and honestly. And I don't know where we stand. And so we talked for about 2 hours that day. And then he ended up having an in-person conversation with my mom and dad and my brother, just kind of apologizing for the whole situation. I think what helped me to move forward in that instance and to know that that was never going to happen again was seeing how genuinely repentant he was and understanding yes, he does love me, and he did make a really awful choice that detrimentally impacts our relationship. And it was a very confusing summer for me because that was also the summer that I got fired from the church. Like, literally, I found out that my fiance cheated on me, and almost a month later, I got fired. And so me and God were just kind of like starting over from scratch. And I did end up marrying my husband now. And to be honest, the whole first year, I dealt with a lot of anger. I've talked about female rage on my page, but I dealt with a lot of pent-up anger, not only towards him, but towards myself for making that decision. It's genuinely not something I want to talk about, but I feel like I need to because I know that it will help someone. Almost a year to the day after I found out that he cheated on me, I started going to betrayal trauma counseling. And a shout out to my counselor in Charlotte that I had. She was absolutely amazing, and I worked with her for about 6 months, and she helped reshape like so many pathways in my brain. She even like brought Austin in for one of the sessions, and we just talked through different things and like why like betrayal trauma doesn't go away overnight. Like, it is an iceberg, and there's a little tip on the top, and there's so many emotions underneath. But I feel like this is something that may come as a shock to a lot of you guys because, you know, I post Christian content and I post my husband on here, and I think I hesitated to do that for a long time because I didn't want to give the impression that I had a perfect marriage or a perfect Christian relationship or whatever. But the reason I have started doing that now is only by God's grace. God has restored our relationship, and in the last 2 years, my husband has completely changed. He has taken accountability for his actions. He has sought therapy. He is in a men's accountability group. He goes twice a week. He has accountability partners because he's also struggled with corn in our relationship. And he's taking those proactive steps, and he also has softened as a person. He is so understanding and kind and nurturing and loving. And like, even when I lose my temper and cuss, like, he's just there, and he's so sweet and understanding. And I just say this to say, like, God can change people. He can restore people. And I want you to know that there is hope. And I'm not saying that you should just stay with someone since they cheated on you. That's not something I'm promoting. But sometimes you find yourself in a situation like that, and you're faced with a really hard choice, and you just have to make the best choice that you know at the time. And I really believe that I did. And like I said, Austin is just so compassionate and caring and just has such a heart for the lost and for the needy and for people who really need the Lord, and has just made me like a more kind, more generous person, a more bold person, because he's just out here like sharing his faith, and that's just not something that I ever felt comfortable with. And now here I am on TikTok, and he has supported this like TikTok journey every single step of the way, and even encouraged me to share the story like 2 years ago, and I was just like, I'm not ready. And I have filmed this multiple times and not ever edited it or posted it, and I've talked about it with friends, and I've said like, I have a heart to share this, but I'm scared of what people are gonna say. But I just wanted to share that God can restore your relationship. It's not going to happen overnight. There's going to be triggers. There's going to be things that are really hard. But the more you communicate about them as a couple, the more that intimacy can grow. I believe that the more vulnerable you are in your relationship, the more God has room to change and shift and grow both of you as individuals and bring you closer, not only to the Lord together, but to each other with the Holy Spirit and Jesus and the Lord as the center of your relationship. So there's more details to this story, and I'm happy to talk about it, but that is the overview. And praise Jesus for restoration and for healing. I wouldn't be where I am without God.
Story time of how I found out 5 minutes ago that I have been cheated on. So I met this boy in Thailand like 3 months ago, and from the first day that we met, we traveled together every single day for 3 weeks. So like his entire trip, I was with him. And then at the end of it, he was going back to Perth, and he was like, oh, do you want to move to Perth with me? And I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy because I live in London, but I do have family in Sydney. So I was like, okay, it's not that weird. Like, I'm Australian, so that's fine. Like, yeah, sure, I'll come to Perth with you. So I moved to Perth with him, and I'm living at his house for like 2 weeks, and like obviously everything's really good, like it was vibes. But he works in a job where he flies away and works 3 weeks like in the mines, and then he gets 1 week off. So I thought rather than me sitting in his house for 3 weeks and like waiting for him to come back, I would go visit my mum in Sydney. So I fly out to Sydney, and we are FaceTiming every single night, and he's like, oh, I really want to come visit you on my week off, so like I'm thinking of flying over to Sydney. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then, like, it was my birthday as well in that time frame, and, like, he sent flowers to my house and everything, which was really cute. And then he, like, came up with the idea. He's like, okay, rather than me coming to Sydney, why don't I just fly us both to Bali and pay for, like, a Bali trip for both of us for your birthday, and so I can see you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, my God, that is, like, amazing. Like, that's so nice of you. Like, yeah, let's do it. So we went to Bali last week, and everything was fine. Like, I had a really good time. And then, obviously, I said goodbye to him last Sunday, so, like, 9 days ago now. And then this time, like, he went straight to work after that. And then this time, like, he'd kind of been just, like, a little bit weird. Like, he's not been FaceTiming me every day. Like, he's been talking to me less. And I kind of messaged him today being like, oh, what's up? And he's like, oh, nothing. I've just had this thing on my mind that's really been stressing me out. Like, I'll FaceTime you tonight. And I was like, okay, cool. So he FaceTimes me and I was like, oh, what's up? And he's like, oh, like, it's literally nothing, but, like, I'm just paranoid that I have an STI. Like, ever since I've met him, he's just always been really paranoid about STIs. Like, but I've obviously been tested since sleeping with him and only him, because, like, we were exclusive. So I was like, oh, like, trying to, like, calm him down, like, calm down his hypochondriacness. I was like, oh, no, like, don't worry, like, I've not been sleeping with anyone else, you've not been sleeping with anyone else, so, like, you couldn't possibly have symptoms. No, sorry, you couldn't possibly have an STI because you would have shown symptoms already because we've been sleeping together for, like, 3 months. And he made, like, a face, and I was like, hold on, what the fuck's that face? And he was like, oh, nothing. And I was like, have you been sleeping with anyone else? And he was like, oh, no. And I was like, no, seriously, have you slept with anyone else? He was like, no. I asked him again, have you slept with anyone else? He said no. I asked him a 4th fucking time. And he was like, okay, yeah, I slept with someone else. And I was like, you're joking. And he's like, no, I'm not joking. And I'm like, no, fucking tell me you're joking. He wasn't joking. So I was like, you know that feeling when you find out information and you just shake, like that adrenaline. I was like, okay, when? He was like, before Bali. Because I was like, okay, maybe fair enough, like, you were out drinking in Bali, because I went to bed earlier than he did every single night because I crash early. So I was like, oh, fair enough if you were really drunk and, like, you slept with someone else, like, I mean, still not okay, but he slept with someone else before Bali. He was at home for 2 days before the Bali trip. So he went from work, flew into his hometown in Perth, was at his house for 2 nights, literally 1.5 days, and slept with someone else, sober. Like, he wasn't out drinking. So I'm thinking it was either his ex or it was this girl that he was seeing before me, or even if it wasn't one of those two, it doesn't fucking matter. He did this completely sober, knowing he was going to see me in Bali for a week for my birthday 2 days later. Are you fucking kidding me? And then the worst part of all of this is after I hung up the phone after I found this out. I was fucking fuming. Like, I was literally livid. Hung up the phone. He's not sent a message. He's not called me back. He's just gone to bed. This man has fucking gone to bed. I'm like, are you fucking serious? It's been an hour now. It's 1:21 a.m. in the morning. I'm fucking livid. I can't sleep now. I'm like, absolutely fuming. Also, one of his friends, the only other friend that I met in Perth that followed me, like his housemate, has unfollowed me, and it would have been in the last couple of days. So I'm like, okay, maybe he cheated on me and, like, it's been premeditated and he was going to end things anyway. Like, that's why he's being weird the past week. I was like, okay, that adds up. However, on this phone call tonight, 5 minutes prior to me, you know, discovering this cheating thing, he said that he was going to fly out to Sydney next week. I was like, yeah, I'm going to come out to Sydney and see you in a few days. I was like, what? Like, the fact that he was going to come to Sydney knowing he's cheated on me, like, what the fuck is wrong with this man's head? And I literally had to drag this information out of him. And the funniest thing is, the last week I've been saying, like, half as a joke, but half because I kind of knew something was off. I was like, you know what you've done? You know what you've done? You know how you sometimes do that? You're like, you know what you've done? Just, like, trying to, like, get any sort of secret out that isn't even there. I've been doing that. And he's like, why do you keep saying that? And I was like, I don't know, you know. And, like, I could tell, like, I don't know. I'm a fucking girl. We know. We have intuition. I could fucking tell something was up. And I was right. And, But anyways, I started off this video crying, and I've ended it in rage again. I'm literally going in between rage and crying because I just don't know how to fucking feel. I want to lay it all out on this man. I want to have a big screaming match and then never speak to him again because I need to let out all my frustrations. But it's fine. I've already unfollowed him, and if he never speaks to me again, then God forbid, because never, ever trust a ginger. ladies and gentlemen.
I caught my fiance cheating and he tried to blame it on AI. I was supposed to be getting married next week, but now as of 4 hours ago, I'm single. I don't think it's hit me yet. My fiance and I were planning a huge destination wedding in Italy. His whole family lives over there. My family's always wanted to go to Italy. It just made sense. The last few months have been very stressful. We planned this entire destination wedding on our own in 6 months. So naturally, it's been stressful, tensions have been high, arguments have been had. So when he started getting distant, I didn't think too much of it. I just thought, okay, this is really stressful. It's put a little strain on our relationship. Cold feet is natural. Maybe he's just taking space. I am kind of a bridezilla, but what started as late nights at the office became late nights with the boys, out at the bar until 2, 3, 4 a.m. and then just not coming home at all. Crashing on so-and-so's couch. 5 out of 7 nights a week. Yeah. I tried not to read too much into it, again, because I'm just so deep in wedding planning. And denial is the devil. I didn't want to even think that the worst case scenario could even be a possibility when my entire life was revolving around planning our wedding, dumping thousands and thousands of dollars from our savings into this event. Non-refundable. We also did not plan to do bachelor or bachelorette parties because we were doing such a big wedding. So I figured maybe he was going through kind of a bachelor era, get out of his system, getting his last licks in, spending time with the boys while he still could. So I didn't read too much into it. And when I would ask him about it, he would just give me the excuse of I just want to spend time with my boys while I still can. We're going to be together every night for the rest of our lives. And I believed him. Now, I'm not one to go through my partner's phone, but I've been noticing that the time that we were spending together, he was always on his phone, which is not like him. He's a hang up, hang out kind of guy. So one night I had planned a little date night for us. I had bought a really nice bottle of wine. I cooked him a steak, cooked some spicy cubes, and went into the bedroom for a few hours. And it felt like the spark was kind of back. And I had delusionally convinced myself oh my God, yeah, it's all good. We just hooked up for 3 hours. How silly of me to think that something was off. But one thing I did notice when we were hooking up, he was doing some things differently. He was doing things that we've never done before, that I've never seen him do, that I didn't know he knew how to do. And we've been together for 5 years. And I asked him, I was like, where did you pick that up from? You've never done that before. I thought maybe it was the cubes. Maybe they put them in a little extra freaky mood. As sometimes you take 2 of those and you get a little weird. But no, something was off. And we hadn't been intimate for several weeks. He lasted a really long time. Again, I'm like, okay, maybe it's the cubes. They can have that effect. They can make you just go and go and go and go and go and go. But if we hadn't been intimate for that long and you're lasting that long, I had some question marks. So he goes into the bathroom to shower and curiosity got the best of me. I opened his phone, which is something I have never done before. But I was getting desperate. I'm about to marry this man in a couple, and something feels off to me. I need to know because he won't tell me the truth. I go to put in his passcode. Passcode is incorrect. But I see that he has all these Instagram notifications from this random username that I didn't recognize, Cherry something, which immediately I'm like, that's a girl. So I literally type in the username into my notes app, put his phone back, and I look her up on my phone. And I see that my fiance follows her. So I decide to send her a DM because at this point I'm starting to fear the worst, but also still in denial. Okay, I'm gonna reach out to her, just ask her point blank, are you messaging my fiance? Who are you? She's gonna reassure me. She's probably an old friend, a colleague. I'm crazy, nothing's going on. This is just for my own self-assurance. So I send her a DM. I'm like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I think you've been in contact with my fiance over Instagram DM. Can you tell me what's going on? He's kind of acting shady. Just tell me that I'm crazy. This girl replied within seconds. And she said, in all caps, fiance? Question mark? He's my boyfriend. We've been dating for 4 months. The gut punch reading that message. I have never experienced anything like that. It was like an out-of-body experience. So the worst thing that could ever happen is happening, has been happening. My fiance is not only cheating on me, he is in a full other relationship. So she tells me that they had met online. He had DM'd her. She lives in the area. They started seeing each other. He sleeps over like 5 out of 7 nights a week. That's where he's been, not at the bar with the boys. So I'm like, look, okay, he's in the shower right now. I need like some kind of proof. Can you send me some of your messages? Like, do you have anything concrete that I can show him? Because my man is a master manipulator, clearly. I can't have him talk me out of this. I need the evidence and I want him to admit it. So she starts sending me screenshots of their messages. Sex, dirty photos. What's even worse is as I'm receiving all of this, I'm realizing that I just took spicy cubes with this man and hooked up with him, and he was just with her last night. We don't use protection. Like, that is so disgusting and dangerous. I don't know what he's exposing me to. So he comes out of the shower, and as like unprepared as I am, I'm just seeing red. So right away, I'm like, and I just show him the messages. Their dirty photos, their sex, everything. I'm like, you want to explain this? He's like, what? Who sent you that? How did you get that? Immediately on the defensive. I'm like, doesn't matter. It was sent to me over DM. Explain yourself. He goes, wow, AI has really gotten out of hand. AI. He will not back down. That's from a bot. That's AI. I would never cheat on you. I'm like, okay, open your phone. Open your phone and show me your Instagram DMs. No, I don't need that. I'm not showing you my phone. Prove it's AI. He breaks down. He refused to open his phone and show me his DMs, show me his texts. So I kicked him out. That was 4 hours ago. I have a wedding to cancel. It's probably not going to be refundable. So, should I just go to Italy anyways? Like, do I go on a breakup vacation? I have literally 8 days to decide.
Hey guys, so many of you have been asking for a story time, and so I'm gonna give one, but I'm gonna try to be like kind of condensed with it and not like too many details, but just to get the point across. But I will start with a little backstory. So I started talking to this guy back in January when I was in Africa. And then when I came back, like mid-February, we went on a date, and we've been planning because we've been talking for a few weeks. On this date, he told me like that he really liked me, he kissed me, everything like that. So it was going really well. That was on February 13th. So then like literally 2 days later, my dad passed away. I just want you to hear a backstory of who he was before I found out of all this. On February 15th, like, my dad passed away. I texted him. I was like, hey, I need you to come to the hospital. Like, he waited in his car, but, like, I went out and saw him, and, like, I spent the day with him just to kind of get out of the house because it was just crazy, and there was a lot of people. And so then, like, after that, we kept, like, talking and doing everything. He met my family. I met, like, his nieces and stuff, and we even went to like Broken Bow with his friends for a weekend, and like stayed in this cabin and stuff with all his friends. And so we we were pretty like serious, you know. He ended up telling me that like he loved me, that I was like his first love and everything. And because we've been talking for like 3 or 4 months, right? Okay, so yeah. But he never like did ask me to be his girlfriend. So it's true. He never asked me to be his girlfriend. But I mean, we said we were exclusive. We said we weren't talking to any other people, all that kind of stuff. So then like 3 weeks ago, we decided to just be friends. So we were totally like, okay, we're just friends because he's in nursing school. He had a lot going on, and he just said he didn't have time to give me as much as I was giving him. So then Tuesday, like this week, Tuesday, May 19th, we decided to go to the dinner and a movie, like as friends, okay? And whenever we were out, like eating and stuff. Like at one point he like put his hand on like my lower back, like guiding me, and I was kind of like, okay, friend, like whatever. And then when we're in the movies, he like held my hand, and like we're kind of like cuddling up in the movies. And then I whispered something in his ear. We kept like talking back and forth, and one of the times I went to whisper something in his ear, he turned and kissed me. So like obviously we're not just friends. And then when we get in the car, he kissed me again and told me he missed me and everything. And then we were driving back to Purcell for him to drop me off at my car, and we like talked it out, and we were like saying how like he can't give me all this time because of like school and just having his own routine and liking his personal time, even though it's summer now. So he said he'd be able to give me more time than during the school year, but still not like every single day. Like, like he works a lot, he does all this stuff. And like, even when we were just friends, he was sharing his location. So I saw and like knew like, oh yeah, he's just busy. He works, he goes to the gym, like all this stuff. So yeah. This is already really long, but anyway, so then Wednesday, like literally the day after, so we started talking again Tuesday night. He kissed me, he told me he loved me on Tuesday night as well, like that he still loved me. And then Wednesday he goes out to like watch the basketball game with his friends. They all went to a bar. Mind you, this man is 25 years old and he's like doing this. I just feel like you're too old to be a cheater at some point. Like, I don't know, maybe you just age out of it. You should never be, but especially when you're like older, like come on. And so Wednesday night he goes and he's with his friends and he's like sending me videos all night, right? Like he's keeping me updated, but then he kind of like stops answering at like 10 p.m. And then fast forward to Thursday, I'm at work and it's 1 p.m. and he still has not texted me. And I texted him and I was like, are you alive? Like, did you make it? And he was like, yeah, like sorry to worry you. But at this point, my coworker, my friend, she was like, hey, I have one of his friends on Snapchat. Like, let's see if he posted a story. His friend posted a story from the night before of them watching the Thunder game, and he like pans over to like the guy that I'm talking with, that I'm exclusive, and he's like really close to another girl. Like they're like leaning in at each other. And I've seen this girl before because we had a talk about her like back in March, and he was like, oh yeah, she's a girl that like used to have a crush on me, but I never liked her back. So, okay, whatever. I was just like, okay, he lied about there being girls there, whatever. So I called him during my lunch, and I was like, hey, who all went? And he starts naming off all his friends, and then he's like, and a couple friends from high school. And I was like, I know there were girls there. And he was like, oh, but you wouldn't know them. And I was like, try. Like, tell me their names. So he said, like, the first girl's name, and then he said, and then this one girl, blank. And then this one girl, that's the girl's name that I actually knew. I didn't know the first name. So I was like, why is he saying it like so nonchalant? Anyway, then he was like saying how him and his friend who he rode up there with were gonna go like eat breakfast and stuff, so he had to go, so he hung up. And then the friend that he said he was going to eat breakfast with is the same friend that my coworker has on Snapchat, and she was like, oh, let's see if his location. He's at his house in Pauls Valley, or somewhere near Pauls Valley. He's been there since 2 a.m. So he went home last night after the game. I don't know why the guy I'm talking to didn't ride home with him, so I'm like so confused. I was like, whose apartment is he at? And then, so he's been telling me this whole time, every time he's gone to this apartment, which is only like 3 or 4 times during us talking, so he doesn't like go there all the time, but I've seen the location before. He's gone to this apartment before. Even all the way back in February when we were like just started talking, like literally the same week that my dad passed, like he was up there, and I thought it was just his friend's apartment. We start doing some research because one of the videos he sent me, there was like a cat toy, but then we found out that his friend who he said his apartment he was at has a dog. And then I looked up the girl's Instagram that was this one girl, she has a cat. I start looking at like her pictures, and she kind of has like something on the balcony of her apartment posted. Yeah, it's the same apartments that I'm seeing on maps. So at this point, I know this is not his friend's apartment. This is this girl's apartment. And so then I'm trying to FaceTime him, and he's like, oh, I'm trying to sleep. Like, he literally sent me a video of him laying on her couch, and he's like, bro, let me sleep, and like pulling the blanket up over his face. And I guess she knew he took this video. That's why he was saying like bruh and stuff, because I was like, you never call me bruh. Like, he doesn't call me bruh. Like, whatever. This is so long, I'm so sorry. But then finally he calls me, and he said like, I said, whose apartment are you at? And he like said his friend's name, and I was like, no, you're not. And he was like, want to bet? And I said, I know whose apartment you're at. And he said, how do you know? And he hung up, and he blocked me on everything. But me being the crazy person I am, I had already screenshotted his location. So I was at work, and I had this little thing where I could get out of work early. So I left work early. I put that thing into maps, and within 40 minutes of him blocking me on everything, I was at the door. I was knocking on the apartment door. But to get up there, I had to like kind of lie to the receptionist lady, so I feel kind of bad because I had to say like, oh, my friend, like I came in last night and I can't remember her apartment number, and she just kind of told me, she couldn't tell me the exact number, but she told me like kind of the vicinity so that I could like guess. I guess like the Lord was looking over me. The first door that I knocked on was her door, and she opened the door and I was like, is his name here? And she was like, yes, and just like let me in. And I just walked in, and he's laying on the couch, cuddled up under a blanket, and he sits up and he was like, what the heck are you doing here? Like, oh my gosh, you're so crazy. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm crazy. Like, I'm the crazy one. I'm the crazy one. Mind you, he was literally lying to me the whole morning, like up until I literally told him, like, I caught you. So if I would have never caught him, he would have just kept going on about this. Anyway, we're all talking. I'm like telling her all this stuff. She's so confused. She had no clue. Like, she knew that he had been talking to me, but she didn't know like how serious we were or anything, I guess, or that we were even like still talking. I guess she thought we like weren't anymore. And he keeps trying to use the excuse of we were never dating. And I was like, oh, we weren't dating, but you told me I was your first love and all this random stuff. And she's just like shook. She's just standing there so confused. Well, then he gets mad that I brought her into it, so we walk outside anyway. I ended up driving him home all the way from the city to Paul's Valley. It was like an hour and 3 minutes, but it was fine because I just got to yell at him the whole time. And I literally just got to tell him how everything, like all the stuff that he did was so wrong. And I asked if he even liked her, and he was like, no, I don't even like her. And I said, so why'd you do it? Like, what was it worth like hurting me? Like after everything I've done for you? And he was just saying like, no, I don't know why I did it. I'm like a terrible person. I have issues. And I was like, yeah, finally you're telling the truth. And so, yeah, the car ride was also when I found out that that's where he had been and like slept in her bed and everything way back in February. Like, I remember it was February 22nd. So like, it was literally like this within the week that my dad passed and that he like had told me that he loved me and everything. And so I was like, you're like confessing your love to me, but then you're going and sleeping in bed with another girl. So yeah, it was really crazy. And I just like feel embarrassed like that I trusted him for so long. But yeah, he told me that he never even liked her, but that he did love me and like all this stuff. And I was like, well, obviously not, because why would you do that? And why would you like waste, like ruin what we had for a girl that you didn't even like? Like, it makes no sense. But yeah, so now my mind is like, what the heck? Like, this guy who literally sat in my car with me and watched my dad's funeral because he couldn't make it to the actual funeral. Like, this is really how he treated me. This is what he did to me. So it sucks. But yeah, that's over. But sorry this is so long. But yeah.
I'll be telling y'all how my ex cheated on me while I make my brother's lunch. Okay, so we're gonna start off like just off the bat. So, okay, first, context. So we were, I was at this place and we were gonna make a party for me because I was moving, so we were doing a goodbye party. So I was like inviting all of my friends and like stuff like that, right? So obviously I'm making the list of who I'm gonna invite, and he's helping me out like, oh, you forgot about Rosie, you forgot about Juana, I don't know, right? And I put them, and then he says, wait, are you inviting Cherry? Okay, we're gonna call my ex Grape, we're gonna call this girl Cherry, okay? Are you gonna invite Cherry? And I'm like, Cherry? Like, why would I invite Cherry? We're not even that close. And, you know, I did think about it for a second. I was like, you know what? Sure, because, I mean, Cherry and I were, like, you know, like, party friends, okay? Like, we would go to the same party, then we would, like, dance around, but we weren't, like, super friends, like, I didn't even have a picture with her, you know? But we did, like, at lunch, we would sit together most of the time with the whole group of girls, and like stuff like that. So I was like, I mean, maybe, but I do want it to be like something for more of my close people because, you know, it is like a goodbye party. It's not like my birthday party. So he's like, oh, okay, I was just thinking. And I'm like, okay. I let that pass because I was like, Cherry, that's weird, but okay. And then he would always bring her up saying like, oh my God, this one celebrity looks like Cherry. And I'm like, okay, like, sure, bro. Like, okay, all right. Like, why are we talking about Cherry so much? Alrighty. So, okay, that was, like, the first thing I was like, that's really weird. But then, okay, so, one day, I moved. When I moved here to San Antonio, he lives in Mexico. All the people in this story time live in Mexico. When I moved, one day I was at a football game. So I was pretty late, getting home late to my house. So I grabbed my phone. He's supposed to be at his house, by the way. I grabbed my phone and I'm like seeing like the stories my friends have posted, and I see this story from one of my friends. We're gonna call her Watermelon. So I click Watermelon story and I see a picture, right? And I'm like, oh, cool, hang out. Like, it was all the girls that I used to sit at lunch with and all the boys. Okay, like I used to have this big friend group, right? The boys would always be like playing soccer and stuff, and we would just be like sitting down, but we were all friends. We would all like hang out together. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. So I saw the picture and I saw a little thing I recognize. Like a little tiny piece, not piece, like at like, oh, I don't know how to say this. Okay, so I saw a hand. There was only a hand, but I know that was my ex's hand because he had a bracelet that I gave him, okay? So I was like, there's no freaking way. And I'm like, nobody else has that bracelet. Nobody. Worst part, that hand was next to Cherry. So I was like, ooh, brother, I'm cooked. Like, I'm getting cheated on. But I didn't really think of it. I was like, nah, I'm probably dumb. Maybe someone else has that thing. So I'm like worried, right? So I text him and I'm like, hi, how are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you at? And he's like, oh, I'm just home. I'm playing FIFA. You sure? You sure you weren't eating sushi with Cherry and all the girls and the whole group? Mind you, this boy, like my ex, he wasn't at my school. Like, we weren't at the same school. So he didn't know all my friends. I mean, like, kind of. So obviously when we went to like parties together and everything like that, obviously like he would talk with all of my friends, like the whole friend group, whatever, right? But they weren't like close, you know, like not to like go and eat sushi and go to dinner. So I was like really weirded out. Really. So he's like, oh, I'm just playing FIFA. And I'm like, okay, sure. And I'm like, oh yeah, send me a picture. And he's like, oh, no, like the lights are off, you know, and I would look really bad and like, I don't want to. Since when do you care about looking good, first of all? So I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry, okay. So I text his sister. And I'm like, yo, like, how are you doing? Because I love her sister. What? I love his sister. I love her. I love her. Like the sister. Bro. I love the sister. Oh my god, I can't talk. So I love his sister, right? And I'm like, yo, like, you know, do you know what Grape is doing right now? Like, do you know where he's at? It's because he's really not answering my text, and you know, it's okay. I just wanted to just like talk to him, right? And she goes, oh, I actually don't know where he is right now. I don't really know, but the car isn't here, so he's probably out somewhere. That's when I knew. So I was like, there's no way. There's like actually no way. And you know that picture I saw on Instagram? I went to check it again because I was like, okay, maybe I have to double check. It wasn't there. The picture wasn't there anymore. So he probably told the girl to take it down because he would know. Like, he knew that it was gonna happen. Whatever, right? So I'm just like, I'm mad. I'm so mad. But I don't do anything about it until the next day. The next day, I text one of my friends that was in the picture, eating dinner with them. This friend of mine, we're like, right? So I trusted her. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask her. Everything's gonna be okay. I'm so dumb. Okay, so I asked this girl, like, yo, like, were you like, you know, like at the dinner with these people? Did you see my boyfriend there? And she's like, Oh, Grape? Oh yeah, he was there with us. Wait, actually I have something to tell you. Spill it. Just spill it at this point. I already know. Just confirm it. And she was like, yeah, like lately he's been like really talking with Cherry. Like really. Like last Friday we went, this happened like on a Monday, I think. Last Friday, yeah, we went to a party and they were like together all the time. I was actually wondering if y'all were still together. I mean, I think we are. I think. And then she was all like, yeah, actually, I thought y'all weren't together anymore. That's why I didn't really say anything. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, don't worry. They're probably just like friends. This party that they went on Friday, oh baby, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that he was out Friday. He didn't tell me about that either. So obviously I'm like mad at this point. Like I'm bad. But I'm also like, what if she's lying? You know, you never know. You never know. I was dumb, okay? I was really dumb. This story time, I was really dumb. I know I was dumb. I know I was, okay? Yeah, I did really stupid stuff, like not believing my friend. But there was no proof, so I was like, maybe it didn't happen. Anyways, so that happens, right? So immediately I tell my boyfriend, well, ex, I'm like, bro, like I just confront him. Like at this point I'm just like, did you cheat on me? Like, are you cheating on me with Cherry? Blah 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 blah. And part 2, because this is way too long. So part two of how my ex cheated on me while I make my brother's lunch. So I started confronting my ex, right? I'm like, you know what, your sister told me you weren't home last night. You're a liar. I heard that you did this. I heard that you went to a party. I heard that you're like really close with Cherry now. Like, what is going on? Why did you lie to me? Blah 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 blah. He dares to say, oh, so you're gonna trust what your friends say, but you're not gonna trust me? Of course. Are you dumb? So I'm like, well, obviously they're telling me the truth, because your sister literally told me you weren't home last night and you told me you were playing FIFA in your house. Obviously I'm gonna believe them because you're obviously a liar. And he's like, yeah, well, you're dumb. Okay. Worse words, not that word. Worse. So he starts saying like a bunch of stuff about me, like, you're so dumb, why would you even believe that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, and he goes like, oh my god. He says, well, I don't want to be with you because a relationship is all over trust and you're not trusting me. Yeah, of course I'm not trusting you because you weren't freaking home last night and you told me you were. Like, how is that not a red flag, right? So I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to be with you either. You're such a liar. We break up. Mind you, he's in Mexico and I'm in San Antonio. Because I moved, okay? We were together for like a year and then I moved. So, yeah. So we break up, right? And then one of my friends, Watermelon, the girl that posted the story where I saw everything, she was all like, oh my god, I didn't know y'all were together. What do you mean you didn't know? Everybody knew, like, because all those girls were, like, all of the group that was in that picture, they were my friends first, and then they started being friends with him. How do I, right? So I was like, how do you not know? Like, hello, everybody knows. They're gonna know. So she was like, yeah, no, it's because the girl that I like talked to. I'm so bad at story times. I'm sorry. Okay, the girl that I like asked, like, oh my god, did y'all like go to sushi together? And that she told me, oh yeah, like when we went out on Friday, he was like really close with Cherry, right? That same girl. And then Watermelon, the girl that posted a story, she told me, oh yeah, it's because Lime, we're gonna call her Lime, it's because Lime, she told me y'all weren't like together anymore because he saw him with Cherry at the party Friday. And I'm like, did like everybody believe that? And she's like, yeah. And then last night when we went to eat sushi, he dropped me off, and then three more girls, including Cherry. And he said, oh, when I drop off Cherry, I'm gonna drop her off, and I'm gonna go give her a big old smoosh, like a kiss. Obviously he didn't say that. I'm gonna go kiss her and like blah 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 blah, because her parents weren't home, like Cherry's parents weren't home, so like just you can like imagine, right? And I'm like, oh, that's like everything I needed to know. That's like everything I needed. And that actually happened. He did like drop off Cherry, and we don't know what happened, but let's just say they went into the house for a little while, like I don't know, like 15 minutes. And well, we don't know what happened there, right? Nobody's gonna know. But yeah. And that same day, his best friend was also my friend, kind of. He sent me like a bunch of screenshots of my ex talking to Cherry, like, you know, and he was all like, yeah, nobody has to know about this, you know, it can be a little secret, like, we don't really have to tell anybody, like, you know, just a bunch of stuff like that. And yeah, so that's basically it. This is my 2 little burritos. They look so disgusting, so I hope they're good. I'm gonna take a little bite just in case. But yeah, that was the story time of how my ex cheated on me, and we did break up, and I did end up seeing him again, and stuff happened. Okay, so if y'all want to know what happened after, because yeah, something happened when I went back to Mexico, hit me up, I'm gonna tell y'all. So that's it, guys. I hope I did explain myself, because I feel like I didn't, or I over explained. I'm sorry, but yeah, guys.
If you notice that Susie's a little melancholy today, it's because her cat died last night. Charlotte hit me on the playground today. I'm so melancholy about it. Do you ever feel so melancholy about being melancholy?
Y'all, I'm about to laugh so hard because I just went back through my phone to go back and double check these screenshots that I, of course, still have to like make sure I don't miss out on any details. Because, y'all, the Hinge profile is honestly laughable. It is genuinely laughable. Okay. So, I'm sitting there staring at this girl's phone, my nail tech, and I am locked in on her phone looking at this Hinge profile. That's my boyfriend, okay? It's nobody else, it's him, and he matched with her on Hinge. He called her a cutie. He thought she was cute. But let's talk about the details, okay? Detail number 1, the date. So the date of the screenshot is for Saturday. Let me tell you where this man was at that Saturday that he matched with her. He was laid here on my couch watching his dumb show that, because he did not want to watch my show, okay? I was in the middle of, I think, Handmaid's Tale at the time, and I was in my own house that I paid my own bills for, and I was being the hostess with the mostest. I said, baby, if you don't want to watch my show, that's fine. I'm going to go in the other room, watch my show. You can sit here on this couch and watch your show. And that's what he did. But little did I know, right after I cooked him a nice little meal, he was laid up on my couch on his Hinge that he re-downloaded and updated, because I'm going to tell you what the updates were too from before when we first matched, okay, because he updated it. He was sitting here matching with women at my house, okay? So there's no denying what day he matched with her, because it's got the date at the top. It's got the date where she screenshot it. So we're going to come back to that because he lied about that later on when I confronted him. So I'm sitting there in the booth, okay, at the nail salon, looking at her phone, and these are the other details. So I know he matched with her on a Saturday while he was sitting here at my house. Detail number 2, okay. Tell me why this profile says, you know, on the little line where it says, you know, what's your relationship type? It says, figuring out my relationship type. Clearly you're trying to figure it out because you're in a serious relationship and now you're on a dating app talking to other women. Yeah, you're trying to figure something out, and I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of you. So he's sitting in my house, he's matched with her. Now we're still looking at this Hinge profile. Okay, I'm scrolling and looking at it. You know, I'm just in shock, just staring at it. every photo on that Hinge profile, y'all, is a new photo. New from when I matched with him back in May, okay? It's photos that he had been taking of himself while he was dove hunting, particularly. I know they were dove hunting photos because he was dove hunting and he would take a picture of himself and he would send it to me like through our personal text messages because, you know, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and that's sweet. You send each other like little photos because he doesn't use Snapchat, okay? He doesn't have a Snapchat. So he would just text me photos of himself and I would heart it like a good little girlfriend, okay? He was cute. But these photos are now on his Hinge profile. So they're recent photos that he's taken. So not only does he have a dating app, he has updated the dating app, okay? Tell me why. On one of the prompts on the Hinge site now, it says, dating me is like winning the lottery. Y'all, I don't know any girl who's ever been cheated on where we feel like we're the lottery winner. Sure, you have a nice income. Don't get me wrong, you have a great income. But money is garbage when you're a garbage human. I'm sorry. Nobody wants your money. Well, maybe some people do, okay? Maybe my morals, my values are too high. But I didn't want his money if it meant I was going to be unhappy and with a man who was not going to be faithful to me. So, sure, for some women, maybe they did win the lottery with that one. But for me, I felt like the biggest winner. You know, I have been chronically single. You know, the last kid picked for the dodgeball team, I think I finally met my man. And now my man is on a dating app, match with my nail tech. So, real big winner. What else is on this Hinge profile? Oh, he put a comment on the Hinge profile talking about, you know, what he likes to do. Dating him looks like dinner dates once a week. Yeah, once a week, because you don't want to date a woman who lives in your town. You want to date a girl who is probably miles and miles away so you can continue to do whatever you're probably doing in your hometown. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you're only available for a dinner date once a week because you can't be in a relationship that requires you to be in town. So, y'all, I left that nail appointment. I took my phone and I took pictures of her phone, so I had my proof that if he tried to deny it. And I got in the car and I drove home. And you better believe I got on the phone immediately. And I call him up and he answers and he's real chipper like he always is when he gets on the phone with me. And I ask him this question, okay? I asked him, I said, are we or are we not in a serious relationship? Because at this point, we both deleted our dating apps back in May after we met each other that first night. Y'all, I know that's a huge red flag, okay? I also didn't tell y'all this. He told me he loved me that first night. We met on my birthday, and he knew I was going out to, like, hang out with other friends that night. And I don't know if it was just out of insecurity or what, but he wanted to lock me down. So he told me he loved me. And I was like, y'all, I'm not going to lie, I've been drinking a little bit. And I was like, oh my gosh, he loves me. And we deleted our dating apps that night. So everything got deleted back in May. So at this point, now we're in the fall. This was in October. I went and checked my receipts of the screenshot. This was the beginning of October. He had just come to dinner, like a family dinner with me that Saturday, paid for my whole family. I'm like, we're in a serious relationship. Are we not? So I asked him on the phone. I said, are we or are we not in a serious relationship? He goes, yeah, of course we are. Why? And that's when I break the news to him. I said, well, that's crazy because I just got out of my nail appointment and my nail tech showed me her phone where you matched with her on Hinge. So if we're in a serious relationship, why are you on a dating app? And it was crickets. And then I asked the question again. I said, if we're in a serious relationship, why are you on a dating app? And he finally responded. And this was his answer. You know, I told you he was coming back. Oh, I don't know. I was just bored. I was at work one night in the middle of the night and I was bored. And I said, oh, that's crazy. I said, because most people who are bored, first of all, it pisses me off. He makes almost triple what I make. And he has time to be bored at work. You have time to be bored making almost a 6-figure paycheck at your job. That's so dumb to me. Like, as an educator, that just really, like, irks my nerves because I'm not only working one job, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm going to tell you right now, I've never been bored for a minute at my job. So, y'all, these pink collar jobs are no joke. Like, we don't got time to be bored, and we're not making enough money to be bored either. But he does. He makes plenty of money doing what he does, and he has clearly time to be bored. But I responded and I said, well, that's really crazy, because like when I'm bored, I don't download dating apps and I don't talk to other men. If I was bored, I would download a game. If I was bored, I would listen to a podcast. If I was bored, I would, I don't know, maybe go find something to do at work to make myself useful, because, you know, this company's paying me money to work. But no, we're very different, clearly. And when he was bored, he decided to download a dating app, update it, and cheat on me. And my nail tech caught him. So what did I do? You know, I was holding on as tight as I could, because I was tired of being the bridesmaid at the wedding. I was ready to be the bride. And I was really genuinely trying to see, like, any solution to this problem. I said, okay, I was like, you've broken my trust. The only way I would even consider staying at this point, you know, given what you've done, you know, I did not know if he'd actually gone on any dates with anybody. I did ask him, and he said he did not. And I said, so what are you doing? He's like, just talking to women because I'm bored. Because I was unavailable, because he would be awake in the middle of the night working. I was in bed, okay? He was bored. He wanted to talk to people. He needed attention, okay? He needed his ego stroked. And I wasn't available to stroke it. So I told him, I said, the only way I would stay in this relationship was, and I gave him XYZ things. I said, you have to delete everything off your phone. Anything that is accessible to you to talk to other women, it's got to go. I said, because we're in a serious relationship, we're not talking to other people. Number 2, you got to turn your location back on, because I'm sorry, buddy, I don't trust you anymore. And number 3, you have to tell me why you want to be with me so badly if you're going to break my trust so easily. Like, what about me is so great that you want to actually be in a relationship with me? Because it doesn't seem like you do want to be in a relationship with me. It seems like you want to talk to other people. So those are my 3 conditions. I said, delete everything off your phone, turn your location back on because you're a liar, and tell me why you want to be with me so bad. And y'all would not believe what he told me. Okay? Part 4.
Story time about how I found out my long-term boyfriend was cheating on me and how I got the most iconic revenge. Some people think I went overboard, but I think he absolutely deserved it. My boyfriend and I had been dating for 4 years. We lived together, had a whole life together, and we were starting to talk about next steps, getting engaged, buying a house, all of the things, until everything came crashing down. My boyfriend did have a lot of redeeming qualities, but he was never the brightest bulb, if you know what I mean. So I found out that he was cheating on me because he left his Hinge notifications on. That's it. I didn't get a hey girly message, nothing like that. It's almost like he wasn't trying to hide it from me, but I just don't even think he realized. So one day, he goes to take a shower. He leaves his phone in the bedroom where I am, and I see that he is getting notifications on his phone. And when I look over, I see that it's Hinge. I know what the Hinge app looks like. I used to be on Hinge, so I knew exactly what it was. I had his password, so I immediately opened his phone and went to the app, and I saw that he was actively matching with and messaging girls. Now, I see that my boyfriend was having a very active conversation with this girl, let's call her Megan, and they're messaging back and forth and talking about setting up a date. So Hinge has a ton of information on the person. So I have her name, I have where she went to school, her age, all of these things. And so with all of that, it's really easy for me to find the girl on other social media. And when my boyfriend gets out of the shower, I decide not to confront him because I knew that I needed to do something bigger. Just calling him out and showing him that I knew he was cheating, that wasn't enough for me. I needed to get revenge, okay? I needed to be way more petty. I gave 4 years of my life to this man. Yeah, no. He was not getting away with this. So that night, I pretend I'm completely fine. I pretend everything is normal. And the entire night, I can't sleep. I am just laying awake thinking about what I'm gonna do. But then I come up with the perfect plan. Like I said before, it was really easy for me to find Megan on social media. So I reached out to her. I was like, hey girl, here's the situation. And you don't know me. I don't know if you want to get involved in all of this, but if you do, here's my plan. And she absolutely loved it. Such a girl's girl, was so upset for me and was immediately on board. So I had her plan a date with my boyfriend. So they make plans to meet up for dinner at this restaurant in our city, and they plan to meet up the Friday of my boyfriend's birthday weekend. So while my boyfriend is cheating on me and planning a date with Megan, he has no idea that I'm planning him a birthday surprise party at the same restaurant. I'm inviting his entire family, even his extended family, his cousins, all of his friends, everybody that knows him. They're all gonna be at that restaurant. And everything goes off according to plan. Everyone shows up about 45 minutes before their date is supposed to be. They're all waiting there at a table that's decorated with a cake and balloons and everything, with giant happy birthday signs. And when he walks in with Megan, the look on his face, crazy. He was completely speechless. So finally I was like, happy birthday, babe. I am so glad that my new friend Megan was able to help us surprise you. That's when Megan speaks up. She's like, hi everyone, it's so nice to meet you. Yeah, so we actually just recently matched on Hinge and this is our first date. So it's so fun that I'm able to celebrate his birthday with all of you. So everyone is super confused at this point, looking back and forth between me, him, Megan, just not knowing what's going on. So I turn around and finally say, oh yeah, sorry everyone. I did find out that he was cheating on me and actively using dating apps to try and go on dates with other women, but I caught him. So Megan here decided to help me out. So I was able to expose him for cheating and celebrate his birthday all in one. So kind of like a double whammy. Now I was so close to his mom. So she immediately starts going off on him. She is so upset. She's like, how could you do this? Why would you do this? Just so upset. And he just looks absolutely mortified. Then I leave. I'm like, bye, see ya. I don't even want to have a conversation with you. Enjoy dinner. And some of my friends knew about the cheating scandal before this whole event. I told them what my plan was. So they came immediately with me to support me. And Megan came too. Great girl. I already had all my stuff packed and movers ready to move me out. So I was gone that night. And even though he has continuously begged to talk to me, I won't speak to him. I have nothing to say. You made your choice. You decided that you wanted to go date other people. Now you can't. I will not stand in your way. Go date other people. That's none of my business. Some people said I went a little too far, but there's also a lot of members of his family who completely support me and think it was iconic, because it was. It was iconic. And now he has no reason to turn his Hinge notifications on. He can just have them on all he wants with no consequences now that I'm out of the picture.
Hello? What happened? He broke up with you? No, I'm so sorry. No, it's gonna be okay. No, it's gonna be okay. Lift that crown, girl.
My boyfriend got my little sister pregnant. Yeah, while we were dating. My little sister is 3 years younger than me, and we've always had a pretty tense relationship. And that's because she's always wanted to copy everything I do. And not just when she was really young, it still happens to this day. But she wasn't copying me in a way of like admiring me. She would copy me because she was in some kind of competition with me. Like whatever I did, she wanted to do it better. If I had an outfit, she wanted to wear the same one, but style it better. If I did an activity, she wanted to join the same one and be better at it than me. That's how it's been our entire life. And I very quickly noticed that when I started dating, she started flirting with all of my boyfriends, and not subtly. She'd be like, you know, imagine if we would have met first. Like, you probably would have been dating me. But obviously you can't because you're with my sister, but like, if you hadn't met her, right? That's weird. That's just so disrespectful. I would bring this up to her and tell her that it made me really uncomfortable and I thought that it was weird. She'd be like, oh my gosh, you're so dramatic. You're so jealous. And my parents would say the same thing. They're like, Kelsey, it's your little sister. What are you talking about? She's obviously joking. Sorry, I don't think that's funny. And I have a pretty good sense of humor, if I'm being honest. So it just got to the point that I stopped bringing the guys that I was dating around my family because it just wasn't worth the drama for me, which is really sad because I'm really close with my parents, but I knew that if we went to any family holiday, she was gonna be there and it was always gonna just start a fight. So I stayed away. Things changed when I started dating my most recent boyfriend because it started getting more serious. We were dating for over a year and I knew that I needed to bring him around my family because that's what you have to do. You know what I mean? Also, I stupidly thought that maybe somehow my sister had matured and wouldn't act up anymore, but I was wrong. The first time she met my boyfriend, one of the first things she said is she's like, oh my gosh, if Kels ever misbehaves or treats you wrong, just let me know. I'll fix it. I'll take care of it. Don't worry. I always have your back. I was like, this is weird. Like, this is just a weird conversation you're having. She was also just being really touchy with him, wanting to always sit by him, was grabbing his arm, laughing at all his jokes. She was flirting with him. Like, I know what flirting looks like, okay? And I know what her flirting looks like because she's my little sister and I've known her whole life. But I pull her aside and I'm like, yeah, we're not gonna do this, okay? We're not gonna continue to do this. I can't. I'm tired. You gotta just be normal and stop flirting with all my boyfriends. And again, she was like, oh my gosh, I did not realize how insecure you were. Like, it's actually really sad that I'm the younger sibling and I'm just so much more confident, so much more self-assured. Like, if you were acting like this with my boyfriends, I would not be upset at all. Okay, well, you've never had a boyfriend, and there's a reason for that. I'm just gonna put that out there. About a month after this initial meeting, my little sister calls me and tells me that she has amazing news and that she's actually gonna be moving states and moving to the city that my boyfriend and I live in. Great. I was so excited for that. And not only was she moving to our city, she was gonna move into the same apartment complex that we lived in. Even better for me. So she moves to our city, moves into our apartment complex, and suddenly she needs help with absolutely everything. She doesn't have a car, so she needs to be driven everywhere. She needs help having everything built. She needs help with all the moving stuff. And guess who she asks for all of it? Yeah, you're right, my boyfriend. Coincidental? I think not. And it got to the point that they were hanging out and I didn't even know they were hanging out. He would get home and I'd be like, where were you? And he was like, I was with your sister. I was helping her do X, Y, Z. I was like, wait, what? What do you mean you were with my sister? Why didn't you tell me? And he's like, oh, I didn't think it was a big deal. She just needed a favor. And so I went to help out. Like, she lives in our building. No, okay? He was making it seem like it was innocent. It wasn't innocent. It gets to the point that this is the biggest issue in our relationship. We're constantly arguing about it, where I'm like, I want you to stop spending so much time with my sister because you already know the previous issues that are there. And he was like, it's your family. I'm just trying to be a good guy. I'm like, okay, sorry, your loyalty is to me and I'm asking you to establish this boundary and you won't do it and it's weird. And we were just going back and forth for weeks about it. Finally, one day, my little sister comes to my apartment while my boyfriend and I are watching a movie and she just looks so upset. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, what is going on? And that's when she tells me that she is pregnant, which I'm shocked about because she just moved to the city. I didn't know she was dating anyone. The only guy that she's been hanging out with is my boyfriend. See, at the time I didn't put that together because I thought that there was no way that he would do that to me, but yeah, just wait. But the person who was even more shocked was my boyfriend. He looked like he was about to projectile vomit. I was like, wow, they obviously have gotten really close. He is really concerned about her. And that's when I start asking her, I was like, okay, who's the father? Whose baby are you having? And she gets really quiet. She's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't really want to tell you. I was like, why are you being weird about this? And obviously we know why she was being weird about this. Then she started looking at my boyfriend. She's like, I mean, like, are you going to tell her or am I? She fully came in here ready to expose him and he had no idea. They was just all going down right there in my living room. So I look at him, he looks absolutely sick. I'm looking at her and low-key, she's smirking a little bit. She's happy about this because again, everything's a competition and apparently she won. She took my man, that's what she wanted this whole time. And I look at him, I'm like, no, please tell me that she's lying, she's making this up. And he can't even get any words out. I can see it on his face that, yeah, it's him. He's the father of this baby. So I absolutely lose that. I'm like, what are you even talking about? And he has the audacity to say to me, well, I know I cheated, but I only half cheated because it's your sister. You shared DNA. So it's like, it's not as bad if I was cheating with someone else. It's like, it's half cheating. No, I'm sorry. What man logic is that? I cannot, it's way worse to cheat with somebody's sibling than with a stranger. So obviously I kick him out. I'm like, you have somewhere else to sleep in the exact same building. So don't even feel bad about it. I don't want to see your face ever again. I look at my sister. I'm like, I don't want to see your face ever again either. My ex-boyfriend is now texting me 24/7, apologizing, saying it was a mistake. It only happened once, which I don't believe based on how much time they spent together. And my family keeps texting me, it's your little sister, give her grace. People make mistakes. So people make mistakes? That was not a mistake. That was a betrayal. Haven't heard anything from my little sister though. Not one text, not one apology, because she's not sorry. She very much planned for this to happen. I know it. And I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen next, but let me know if y'all want to stay updated.
What's up, y'all? I'm gonna do a story time on how I caught my ex cheating on me. So I found out he cheated on me because I found out on her page, on her TikTok page, because I was stalking one day. But let me tell you how I found her page and how I like thought to just, you know, scroll down her TikToks. When me and him first started dating, which was like in 2023, I saw his phone, his DMs. I don't know, like just her account stood out the most to me, and I was just like, oh, okay. But I was ugly, but she was ugly and fat. So I was just like, okay, that's your friend, nothing of it. Because I'm thinking this bitch a torta. My Mexican fine papa don't want no torta. Life went on. Me and him get into this argument, I remember. And broke up. Unfollowed each other on everything. I followed my niggas. He followed his bitches or whatever. And like just took me out of his whole profile on Instagram. And he just followed Pacific girls that I just be like, why you always following, refollowing these bitches? Like, because I refollow my niggas who I talk to and who know I'm in a relationship. And it's that fat torta bitch. It's that girl. So I'm just like, okay, I go to her page. And he liked it. Like, he's in the likes. And I'm like, oh. So my man, like, he liked girls like that. But she had her whole ass out and shit. When we got back together, I don't ask him. I'm like, why did you like this post? Why did you go do all of that? He said to make you mad. But I was like, baby, no, like, she posted that like a month ago. And you liked it. So you had to been, if that like was new, you had to been scrolling down her page to go like it. So me and my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, we got into it. We got into it again. We broke up. And he just kept doing the same thing. So then after a while, when we were broken up for like 2 days, maybe 3, I'm stalking. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm stalking his following. She's in there. So I need to go and see what's tea with her on her page to see if they really fuck with each other like that. So I go to her page and I'm just scrolling on her page. Literally just scrolling. I'm not seeing nothing. You know, I'm going through all the TikToks. And I don't know. I just keep going down. I'm just like, oh. I see this one TikTok where she was talking about some, when I try to make him love me or, you know, something like that. It was like a slideshow of like pictures from the camera roll. So I swipe to the next picture and I don't expect it to be what it was. But it's gonna be him texting her when you trying to fuck. The contact name was not his name. The contact name was I'm not even gonna say it because I don't even want to like speak about his name on here. But like his initials, his first, middle, last name was all up in that shit. And I'm like, how does bitch know your first, last, middle, extra name? Like, how does she know all that? I go back to the dates. It was like, I'm not even going. It's crazy how I remember it because I'm still kind of traumatized. But damn, anyways, the dates. I go back to the dates on my camera. I'm like, was we broken up? Was we not? That night he sent that text to her, we was broken up. Just for that night, right? I'm like, damn. This is my nigga. So I found out during the day. I was at home, he was at work. Called this nigga so many times, he not answering me. I'm calling this nigga. I'm like, you fuck with this bitch, this and that. I'm like, when I see you, like, oh my god, I was just going off on him. But I still stay with him. And yeah. So me and him, we go through his phone again one day after we just got broken up. Cause I want to see the messages, what he got going on in the messages, cause that's where you gonna always find a bitch in the messages. I see a text from this number talking about some why you keep going back to that girl, or like just something. And I peep it and I'm like, okay, go back and click on it. He wouldn't click on it, he deleted it. I was like, what? I said, go to your recently deleted. Well, before he deleted it for real, like permanently, I tell him, go to your recently deleted, because why is the only one message right here from her? It was like 7 messages that was deleted. And I was like, oh hell no, let me see. He wouldn't let me see he deleted those. I was like, okay, bet. That's that bitch. Because that was around the time when I saw you on her TikTok screenshots talking about somebody trying to fuck. That was like the same day, the same night. So, okay, bet. And she posted about you. I believed him. We got back together. You know, during all that time we was together, he called me cheating like 3 times. That nigga would make it seem like to the bitch like they was locked in or something. So I was confused.
Alright, so it's a little story time on how I just got cheated on. So basically, I was at a friend's house, Quentin's house, a little get together. I didn't think I was gonna go because I had schoolwork. But he was like, hey, stop by, show your face for a little bit. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then me and my girl were texting, whatever. And she's like, hey, I want to go to the beach with Lily, her friend. I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. And then all of a sudden, and she's like, all right, we're going home now. And I had this gut feeling in my stomach. I was like, okay. I was like, I was like, all right, I'm coming. She was like, no, don't. She was like, no, I wanna lay down. She said, I wanna lay down ugly tonight. She wants to fart, lay how she wants to lay tonight. I was like, okay, that's fine, but all right, whatever. And then, but I didn't like that answer. So I pulled up to her house, her crib, and I sat in this little area where you get a clear vision of the door. Tell me why I see her walk in the house with 2 guys. Not 1, but 2. Call her and I'm like, hey, you okay? Did you get home safe? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm going to bed now. Bro, every time I start fucking with a girl, I get heartbroken, bro. Every time. First girl, fuck someone else. Second girl, fuck someone else. This one, fuck. Bro, like.
I got a hey girly DM the day after I spent my 30th birthday in Mexico with this man, and I debated on even coming on here and sharing this message with you guys because not only am I so incredibly embarrassed to have been put through this situation, but also I hope that no one ever experiences this type of feeling, this type of betrayal, because it is literally the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. When you go out of your way to intentionally hurt me, to do something to betray my trust, when you know that I'm a loyal girl, I'm a God-fearing woman, I'm a loving, supportive, caring, all of the above, that's when I have a problem with it. You can be the most beautiful person inside and out. You can have a personality of gold. You can love God. You can be supportive, caring, loving, literally the full thing. But if that person doesn't have enough self-respect for themselves, they are not disciplined, they are not a God-fearing man, then you know what? They are going to constantly disappoint you until you decide to let it go. Although this person did something so incredibly hurtful to basically break my heart, I still forgave them because that's exactly what Jesus would want. When you are somebody that embodies God's love, you move with nothing but kindness, love, and support for those around you. Despite what hurt you've experienced or what hurt that you're going through, guess what? At the end of the day, you gain everything and they lose everything. But you have to remember that love is not enough. To me, love is the act of consideration. Love is loyalty. Love is the act of never putting yourself in a position to intentionally hurt the person that you actually care about. A lot of people are fighting demons in their head, but you know what? It is not your responsibility to fix them.